Alright folks, it's the WC. Just got done watching WrestleMania 32. I want to give y'all a full show review, but there was just certain stuff on the show that I was like, and then the network was not really working at times. It was like, meh. But overall, it was a pretty darn good show. I'll name off a few matches that stood out to me. I'll briefly go over just about every match, but there were certain matches that kind of stuck out more to me. So I'm going to go over the matches that, briefly kind of mention, just to say that I mentioned the pre-show match with Ryback and Kalisto. I didn't even watch. They didn't advertise it. I think they did it around 6:30 or something. There was a lot of stuff that they did that you had to be watching the network in order to see it. Like they revealed that there was going to be a new Divas championship. Then they had a U.S. title match. I'm assuming that Kalisto won. It was going to be real. The Divas Battle Royal, which they showed on USA, it was okay. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, I got a crush on Lana for whatever it is. It was okay. Getting into the pay-per-view and everything. Almost forgot the Dudley boys and the Usos. The Usos got booed out of the building. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know if it's just a Samoan thing. They're not born to rock, but they're basically born everybody else to Samoan in that company. I don't know if it's a racial thing. I don't want to go there with it, but they went over on the Dudleys. They got the win over them, and then they put them through tables. You can kind of see that that's where it was going to go. Wasn't good, wasn't great. It was kind of uneventful. And then you had the ladder match. The ladder match was pretty darn good, man. Just about everybody in that match was pretty much got a good response from the crowd. Just about everybody. There was a couple high spots. Cody Rhodes, I don't know if his ribs broken or I don't know. There's a lot of people that's going to be injured basically in this review. I think there was a high spot there. But Zack Ryder wins it. And don't you know what? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be one of those fair weather fans that say, okay, great, Zack Ryder wins the Intercontinetal Championship ladder match. I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm just going to say, well, now Kevin Owens has somebody else to feud with. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if he's not going to feud with Zayn, then maybe he can feud with Ryder, and it just gives somebody different relevance. It just adds relevance to the title when you put it on somebody that you really don't expect for them to have it. Hopefully, they'll do something with them. I mean, I don't know if this is just a dying wish thing for Zack Ryder. I don't know, but I can't say that I hate it. Can't say that I love it, but it was alright. Match overall was pretty darn good. And then you had Jericho versus Styles. It was okay match. It was a typical Chris Jericho WrestleMania performance. If you've watched Jericho over the years, it was no different. Counter to counter, the counter move. And AJ Styles was pretty good too. The match wasn't 5 stars or nothing like that, like a couple of the NXT matches the night before, a couple nights before, but it was pretty good, man. It held its own. A couple of these matches are going to be out of order, and there was a couple things that were a little forgetful. The New Day match kind of disappointed me a little bit, and I think that the reason why it kind of disappointed me is because the League of Nations is just these guys are hard to watch. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but these guys are just hard to watch. And then the New Day's gimmick is like, some people say it's coonery and buffoonery. I don't really mind it as much because I know it's entertainment. So, at the end of the day, it was an okay match, but it was just like uneventful. That's just kind of how it felt. I mean, the entrances was okay, them falling out of a cereal box, but I mean, it just didn't feel eventful. The tag titles weren't on the line or anything like that. Just felt uneventful. That's the word for that match, uneventful. And then you had Stone Cold and HBK and the rest of those guys come out. I didn't mind that. It was a good feel-good moment to get those guys back out there. It didn't get too physical, so it wasn't like these guys were, you know, wrestling Iron Man matches. They just got a little physical, got a little bit of dust on their clothes, and that was it. It was good to see them, you know. The rest of the card was real scrambled. And like I say, I want to take a quick second to complain about the WWE Network. I mean, I know that there's probably millions of people that were watching it, but there was several matches during the night. I remember the Divas Championship match. Hopefully, I don't leave any matches out. But the Divas Championship match with Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks. Pretty darn good match. Went back and forth. Ric Flair took a bump. Pretty darn good match. I like the way that they changed up the belt. The belt looks pretty good. It's like an inverted white color of the WWE Championship belt mixed in with it's like the WWE Championship belt cross the Intercontinetal Championship belt. That's kind of what it looks like. Like if you cross those two, that's kind of what you would get. So I like the way the belt looked. I didn't necessarily agree with Charlotte winning the match, but for what it's worth, all these women are pretty good. She's up there in age, so I can see why they would keep the belt on her, because her run will probably be a little bit more shorter than Becky's, and especially Sasha. Sasha's a baby. They got plenty of time to put the belt on her. She'll have the belt plenty of times. So I didn't really mind her losing that match. They did a skip with The Rock. I know I'm skipping over something. They did a skip with The Rock. But he announced the attendance record of 100,000 people. Beat one of the Wyatts in 7 seconds, and then Cena came out. And, I don't know if Cena is medically cleared to wrestle, but clearly the show needs him. It wasn't a bad segment. It felt like it kind of dragged on. That was something I didn't like about it. Felt like it kind of dragged. Of course, Shane versus the Undertaker, the Hell in a Cell match. For a second there, I thought that Shane killed himself. I mean, when he went through that table, I thought that the guy legit was dead. I mean, it looked that bad, and they kept replaying it. I don't know if the guy has bruised ribs or internal bleeding, but you could tell he hurt. Like you can't jump off of a cage and not halfway kill yourself. Taker looked old and slow. He didn't need to win this match. I don't know what they're going to do tomorrow night on Raw. As I'm recording this, it is tomorrow, the 4th. So I don't know what they're going to do later on today on Raw. But that was a big storyline match of the night, and Taker wins it. Like I said, didn't need to win. But then again, it's like, kind of to make Brock look stronger, he kind of had to beat Shane. It's like, how do you lose to Brock and Shane? So I can understand why they did it. Speaking of Brock, 13 suplexes on Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose looked like a JV player. Like he didn't look good at all in that match. He just looked overmatched. He looked out of place, and I don't know if that was done on purpose, but just not a good look. I enjoyed watching the suplexes. Dean really didn't use a bunch of the weapons that you would thought he would use. He threw a couple chairs around, and the match just kind of felt uneventful. The right guy won, but they could have went way more over the edge with that match, and they just didn't. You know what I'm saying? It was a typical, Suplex City match. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I could give the Hell in a Cell match credit for, that they actually used the cell. Shane and the Undertaker actually used the cell. So that's something I can look at and say, great. And then, like I said, hopefully I'm not missing anything. The main event with Roman Reigns, terrible. And the reason why it was terrible was not necessarily the wrestling. The wrestling in the match I didn't really disapprove of. It was a typical Triple H match. 2-3 moves, rest. 2-3 moves, rest. Let me put you on an arm bar, rest. Big spot, rest. Stephanie McMahon got involved in the match. Didn't really bother me. But Roman Reigns was the championship. Let me go in on Roman Reigns for a second. Now, I think it's popular to tell everybody that Roman Reigns sucks. All right, I think it's popular for people to try to compare him to Cena. I think that's the popular thing. I'm gonna do the unpopular thing and say that he needed the belt. He was supposed to win the belt tonight. Everybody knew that he was going to win the belt. There was no mystery in it. It was just how they were going to try to prevent it to us, you know what I'm saying, during the show. And it was inevitable that this was going to happen. You can't have Triple H being the legit CEO or COO of the company and a WWE champion. We've seen the writing on the wall a long time ago. My problem with Reigns is that this guy is real naive. You know what I'm saying? He's real naive. I don't think that he really gets that, the fans don't boo him because we don't like him. The fans boo him because we see that he's being used incorrectly and he's not being presented to the audience the proper way. You know what I'm saying? It's not a slow burn. Like, I compare Roman Reigns' rise a little bit to Batista, but it's almost like it's Batista, but it was rushed. It's almost like it's Bobby Lashley, but it's rushed. It's like it's Cena, but it was rushed. Cena, like I said, you can't compare Roman Reigns to Cena because Cena's rise was a slow burn. He held the United States Championship first. He went through the mid cards. He fought Kurt Angle for basically nothing. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't immediately thrown into the main event of WrestleMania 2 years after, you know what I'm saying, he makes his legit singles debut. It was not done that way. And it just felt rushed. They were going to go, and here's the thing that people might not like. They were going to go in this direction regardless if Seth Rollins got hurt, regardless if Cena got hurt, regardless if Orton got hurt, regardless if Cesaro, whoever you want to put out there. This was the direction that the company was going to go. And, let's see what he does with the ball. I don't think that he'll do pretty good with it because the fans have already gotten that taste in their mouth where it's like, we don't want to see this guy, but you're putting him in front of us anyway. And, clearly somebody in the back is completely out of touch with Roman Reigns' character and how he's being presented on TV. We don't want to see it. We don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Don't you know what? I can't speak for everybody. There's some people that did cheer when the man won the title. You know what I'm saying? And he's a 3-time, 4-time champion now. I don't necessarily like it. I've read this man's interviews. I don't like his attitude. But he's the champion. So what do you want me to say? Overall, the show, what can I say? I'll give the show about a 7.9 because of the fact that I missed half of it. You want to know why I missed half of it? Because the WWE Network was scrambled. It was, it was pixelated. What do you want me to say? It was bad. They really need to fix that if they want to have consistent subscribers. And with respect to them, this is the biggest show that they're going to have of the year. So I can understand how servers at spots and at times in spots will skip, and I understand that, but their service has to be able to contain it if they want people's money, if they want my money at least. So let me know how you guys feel about WrestleMania 32. What was your high spots? What was your low spots? Was there anything that I missed? Hopefully it was nothing that I missed. Hopefully I touched on just about everything. Like I said, not a bad show, but Roman Reigns is just the most polarizing guy that they have right now, and for him to be placed off like he's some type of face, it's just really bad. The product is you can see it turning a corner to a certain extent, but Reigns is one of the bad parts about it. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. Let me know how you guys feel down below. It's WC. I'm out.